this is crazy dangerous. Like, I don't know if you need this explained to you, but I'll walk you through the process.
And welcome back to another edition of Roses and Razzberries. Same crew as usual, SJ Munoz, Ryan Witkowski, Tyson Fisher. Before we get going, I always like to let you know if you have a rose, raspberry, or shoot, we get those what we call roseberries from time to time, a mix of both. Go ahead and send those into roses@landlinemag.com. And then Tyson, going to get started today with, these are like what you shouldn't do, but apparently it needs to be said still.
So yeah, raspberries to a California man who attacked a truck driver. So what happened was this incident took place in Middletown, Pennsylvania, where the man tried to break into a truck through the driver's side window, and the truck driver was there, so he proceeded to beat the truck driver. So we're already off to a bad start, right? But this guy kind of sucks as a thief because when the police arrived, he had a bloody mouth and was being detained. So he didn't just not get away. Some people nearby just said, "Hey, what are you doing?"
Not a great thief or a fighter, apparently.
Or that, yeah, right. So he tried to attack the arriving officer, but failed to do that. Then when another officer tried to get him on his feet, this guy spat into the officer's face. Then proceeded to try to kick another officer while being pushed into the police car. So, again, not very successful any of this. But according to Fox 43 News, this all happened outside of NVK Logistics. And I looked at the Google Maps there, and it appears that there is on-site parking at this trucking company, but I wouldn't call it secure. There's no gates.
People are just randomly attacking you.
Right. But so this is why we need more secure truck parking. So we advocate for more truck parking and added capacity. An emphasis on the secure part of that. Because this is, the driver didn't get hurt in this case, but there have been situations where drivers do get hurt in this case. The namesake of Jason's Law, which is how he gets his whole truck parking conversation in federal government. That guy was killed for like $7, and so anyway, emphasis on secure truck parking, and an incident like this kind of highlights exactly why.
Well, I know it's a violent situation, this one, but we've also seen, the tire slashing deal that's been, multiple states where because of, failure to have secure parking. So obviously it stretches, all kinds of issues. And, speaking of parking, Ryan, you're kind of on those lines here on the next story here.
Yeah, a place that notoriously doesn't allow truck parking. Roses to Kenworth for sticking it to Buc-ee's. Actually, I'm not sure they're actually trying to do it, but it's still hilarious to me. Kenworth is building a massive 70,000 square foot showroom right next to the Buc-ee's in Springfield, Missouri. So, the plans, which currently are under review by city officials, lay out a trucking sales and service facility. So there's going to have plenty of semis rolling around right next to Buc-ee's, a place who, let's face it, has notoriously turned away truckers. The company expects to start development in June and wrap up in August of 2026. And while I'm sure it isn't them trying to do anything nefarious, the irony of it being right next to a Buc-ee's, which, like I said, is notoriously refused truckers, is pretty hilarious to me. Also, coincidentally, right across the street, there's already a Peterbilt dealership as well. So they're just going to be surrounded by big trucks. So, hey, maybe you can just take a stroll over there instead of having to park your truck, and you can walk over there and get some of that beaver meat that's so delicious.
Well, it may not be petty, but it's petty adjacent. So I'm sure you're always in for that.
I'm here for petty adjacent.
All right. Well, I guess in more ways not to act. Tyson, you have something along those lines.
This was hilarious. So raspberries to there's an idiot truck driver who couldn't be bothered to hide his evidence of driving while distracted. So what happened here, this is in Alberta, Canada. A trucker was clocked going 117 kilometers an hour. So you know how fast that is,
I'm going
miles
to
per
let you
hour?
just tell me. I have an idea, but I'll let you go ahead and spell it out here.
I think it's 150. No, it's 73 miles per hour, but that's above the speed.
So much faster.
It sounds faster in
like,
kilometers, doesn't it? But and so this was in Shunya, Ontario. So when the law enforcement approached the driver, they saw a cell phone mounted like horizontally, like right behind the steering wheel on the gauge cluster. So you got this cell phone just sitting there.
Must have been something that
just
was really
cruising down the
important on
road.
that phone.
But it was even better than that. So Ontario Provincial Police, they posted a photo of this phone on social media, and it's a picture of the cell phone just sitting there with the screen still on and what appears to be a paused YouTube video there. So yeah, so what happens? This guy. So the scenario is this guy gets pulled over for speeding. He knows there's a police officer that's going to be coming up to his window. Doesn't even think to maybe just to take the phone that's playing the YouTube video, maybe just set it aside, to the right there, right. At the very least, turn the screen off. Couldn't even do that. Just had like the YouTube screen sitting there on the cluster gauges right in front of him. So anyway, dumbest thing that I've seen in a while.
I think the moral of the story is if you're going to be an idiot, at least cover your tracks. Is that what you're getting at?
I would imagine, yeah. So
do we need to put a disclaimer? We don't support this type of behavior.
we certainly do not. So with that being said, I hope they tested this guy for drugs, because I would hope to think that someone sober doesn't do something as
Yeah, what a
stupid as
moron.
this.
I mean, I guess who knows what that YouTube video was, but it must have been real good. It was one of those, million viral videos there. I
Probably
guess
Gangnam Style. That's what it
yeah,
was.
then we'll go with that. And then I guess actions of truckers we can support.
Yeah, I
that you
definitely
got
am
that
here
here
for
for
this.
us, yeah.
There has been a viral video going around. So roses to truckers who still pull the horn for kids.
Right.
There was a viral video going around, Facebook video that shows a group of kids. They're standing on like an overlook on the side of a highway. It's like a little, I don't know what that. I'm not great with geographical. A butte maybe. I don't know what that's called. Either way, they're like standing on the side of a highway and they're trying to get truckers to pull their horn. And for like a minute and a half, this video goes on. It's just truck after truck after truck just blaring their horn. Sometimes it's like two crossing and they start, I mean, it was awesome, man. And for me, like, I immediately thought, well, that's great, because I remember when I was a child, like that was always so much fun for me to do on road trips or anytime I was in a car, really. But my kids now, they've been trying it. They never get anybody to pull their horn.
What's going on?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Maybe it's just us here in Missouri. The truckers need to step up their game here in Missouri. Maybe they're just not paying attention. They don't see, like they're not maybe looking for it.
Maybe
Do
they're
kids-
getting too many other types of hand signals where they just block them all out.
Yeah,
and
like,
they don't pay.
Is it a lost art? Like, I'm genuinely curious about this now because
Legal liability.
yeah, is that what it is? Sorry, kid, I was gonna pull it, but I don't want to get in trouble.
Well, seeing this video kind of reminded me, because I was always kind of like, you hear it and see it in the movies, and feel like kind of was like, I don't know, maybe an urban legend or whatever, if you will, that like it was like annoying and kind of like didn't want to do that. It's like, leave me alone, kid. I'm just trying to get to my destination here. But this video, I mean, obviously in this case, it was both sides were into this.
When is the last time you guys tried to get a semi to honk its horn?
It's been a minute.
Yeah,
it's been a minute. Yeah, but now I'm going to go do
That's
it.
homework
Yeah,
tonight.
now we're doing
Let's
it.
All right, and then kind of, I mean, we come across these stories from time to time too. Just like the selfless acts, and this is a who's chopping onions type of story here, I guess. If you want to kind of narrow it in on that.
This is a tearjerker of one. So roses to multiple truck drivers who gave a sick 14-year-old her final wish. So what happened was a nonprofit took to social media to see if any of their followers are truck drivers who are willing to give a dying teenager one last ride. And so needless to say, a bunch of truckers lined up, said, yeah, we're going to do this. So allowing multiple rides over a weekend and then two more on that that following Monday. So Honey, that's the name of the 14-year-old. She got to eat one of her favorite meals when riding shotgun in the truck, which chicken nuggets from Wendy's, which I strongly endorse. But 3 months prior to this, the nonprofit, which works with humans and animals in crisis, took in Honey after her only guardian passed away. So just as she was beginning to warm up to the volunteers, they realized that she was dying. So knowing there's nothing they can do, they wanted to do something that they knew that Honey loved to do, So that's why. So the thing is, why multiple truck rides, That's because Honey is a 14-year-old yellow lab. So yeah, so it's just starting to make sense now, right?
But she loves chicken nuggets.
But she loves chicken nuggets.
I love the same thing a Labrador
which
loves.
is 98 in dog years. So she lived a long life, but like most dogs, Honey loved going on rides and chicken nuggets, as my dog also loves those two things. And so the trucking community, gave her a truck ride marathon before, sending her back to her owner. So I thought that was an awesome story.
Well, and how many stories have all of between everyone here done about just the companion and how like important it is? I know, of course, everybody that has a dog, it's like it's just like another member of their family. But when you're out from home so long and that's kind of like your only connection, it's we see it time and time again how like it means much more than just whatever, playing fetch with your dog in the backyard or whatever.
100%.
I'm so glad this turned out to be a dog too, because like internally I was laughing about this girl's name being Honey. I don't know why. I thought there was some 14-year-old running around named Honey.
It probably would have been a nickname if it was as a human, of course. But again, I guess we started this way, and maybe it's appropriate we end this way of things we shouldn't have to say not to do, but they're still being done, and it's not it cuts across the industry here because you cover that the cargo deal and the border patrol type of stuff. So you see it more often than one might think that isn't locked into this.
I really appreciate you teeing me up after Tyson's heartfort story.
Yeah, I know it's like
one.
not a good yes.
I'll say first, number one, I don't seek these stories out. They just find me. I cover the cross-border beat for us, and sometimes the Customs and Border Protection will put up an interesting headline that catches my attention. So I never thought I'd have to say this, but raspberries to people who are trying to smuggle drugs in their body cavities.
Oh.
There have been four, count them, 4 separate instances in the last month where CBP found people smuggling drugs concealed in their orifices. 3 of them had fentanyl, 1 of them had meth. This is crazy dangerous. Like, I don't know if you need this explained to you, but I'll walk you through the process. If one of those things were to burst inside your system, instantaneous death, right?
Right.
And I understand, look, if you've turned to a life of being a drug mule, you likely aren't.
You're not thinking straight.
Yeah, you likely don't have the best
that you
decision-making
normally
processes.
wouldn't do, yeah.
But this could kill you if those packages burst. The dogs are going to catch you. They're going to find out. And when you do, it's going to have to be a really weird situation to explain why you have something in your butt, which feels like a difficult conversation to have with a complete stranger. Yeah. In one of these cases, the guy denied it until they took him to the hospital and x-rayed him and was like, there they are. And at that point, I really would like to be a fly on the wall just to hear that guy's reaction, be like, you got me.
So, true story, before I became a journalist, I worked in an x-ray department of a hospital, and the things that people put in orifices and that you can see in the x-rays, you would be surprised, or maybe not, I don't know, but yeah.
I don't know, maybe these folks just got a bum rap, I don't know. But try to avoid this, because at bare minimum, you're going to be the butt of jokes. So hopefully they're...
Yeah. You got any more? Okay.
Well, hopefully their actions deterred somebody else from doing that. So.
When you see, all kinds of things, not necessarily this, but just with the smuggling incidents of like, maybe it'd be food, or I came across a story where, a guy had a hair piece, a toupee, and he tried to, put stuff in there. It's like you mentioned, you're obviously not thinking straight. You're not like someone that's like gonna follow the rules, and you're kind of maybe desperate for money or just get trapped in this lifestyle. But still, it's just like, man, you kind of still wonder how it gets to that point for a lot of people.
I have nothing more on this.
I don't know how I can contribute more to this conversation.
If Ryan's out of words, that probably means we're in a good spot. Again, I just want to remind you, like always, if you have a rose, raspberry, combination of the two, maybe some interesting life choices, go ahead and send those to roses@landlinemag.com. For Ryan Witkowski and Tyson Fisher, I'm SJ Munoz.